Hi, I'm Lael McDill from ClaySquared.com, the maker of Silly Millies, and I'm going to show you today how to make a polymer clay turtle from your turtle kit. I've got here to do this project my turtle kit that you can get at ClaySquared.com, and I also am going to need one small Silly Millie. You can choose any kind you want. The other thing you'll need is a tool, a slicing tool for cutting. So the first step is to just open up your package. You want to gently remove those little tiny eyeballs that this came with. I'm just going to set those off to the side so they won't get wrecked. And then the other little part you have in here is a little tiny cane that you're going to use to make the toenails. So I'll set that off to the side too because I don't need that yet. Now to open it up, I usually just kind of rip it right at this seam, and you can get into the middle to get your little ball of tin foil. That's going to be the shell, and your pieces of clay, which are going to be the legs and head and tail. So save those off to the side too. First step is take your Silly Millie and slice it into thin slices. Think about slicing about the thickness of a penny or a dime. Go pretty thin because you're going to need to use all of it and spread it all around. I usually slice it almost all the way to the end. Save myself the last little half inch or so just in case I don't need it. So now I've got my little ball of tin foil. It's shaped into a little shell. I'm going to take these slices and lay them all around however you want to. Usually the shapes just kind of go right next to each other. Don't worry too much if a little bit of tin foil or a little space shows in between. And you'll just keep filling it up. For this turtle, I decided to use my moose cane. You could use a picture cane or you could use a design cane, whatever you like. They always look really fun when you have a whole bunch of them repeating over and over again. It's kind of a little extra surprise to go, oh look, there's little tiny pictures on there. So see how I'm covering, and I'm not really worrying too much about the little spaces in between. I'm not going to overlap unless I absolutely have to at the end, because that way I have plenty of Silly Millies to go around. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around. Looks like I'm going to need my other slices. It just kind of depends. If you end up with this, if you're getting towards the end and you're feeling like there's not enough and you've got some thicker slices, just pinch them like this. And you'll see they'll get bigger and the picture doesn't change. So that gives me a good big one to go there. I usually do the bottom, which is sort of the flatter part of your little piece of tin foil. Do that part last. Then if you have to do anything like patching in or something, it won't matter as much. So there we go. Looks like I do need my last little bit. So I'm going to slice that pretty thin to make sure I have enough. It just all depends on exactly how big your tin foil is or exactly how thin you slice to how it works out. Sometimes I have extra. Sometimes I have to kind of stretch to make them fit. So, looking pretty good. I'm going to just sort of overlap just a little bit right there and a little bit right there to fill it all in. One more slice left. I could put it there. Might as well. So now it's pretty covered. There's some little spaces showing. I'll just sort of squish those to get them to fill in. See how I'm sort of squishing together. And now I can sort of roll it in my hands like this to get it smooth, or use your work surface. And it'll gradually smooth out. Just have to roll it in different directions. Squish it this way, roll it that way. And you can make it as smooth or as lumpy as you want. There's really no rules. It's kind of nice to get it smooth for this project, but lumpy can sometimes be pretty cute. Now, the goal is make sure to get all that tin foil filled in. So if I've got little pieces of tin foil, I want to squish those a little bit because you don't want anybody to know there's tin foil inside. It's a secret. Plus, it doesn't look as cool. Now, I've got a little space that really wants to pop out, so I'm going to keep squishing and squishing and squishing. There we go. It's almost getting covered. There. Now, I think it's pretty good and covered. Next step is to make the legs and the arms and the tail and the head. So, I've got all these little pieces of clay. You're going to want to warm those up in your hands like this and roll them along. It just depends on how soft the clay is. Some of them will need a little warming up and some will just need to be just rolled right out. So just roll it, rolling, nice little worms, about 4 inches or so. They don't have to be exactly the same. And rolling. You might have 4 colors or so, and you might have colors with little bits of other colors on them, and that's okay because that adds a little character. I'm going to just lay those right together in a little pile. And now I'm going to do some marbleizing, which requires some twisting and rolling. Don't worry if you get cracking. Looks like I'm getting some cracking there. That just means I squish it together. And you can twist it however much you want. And then do some folding and more twisting or more folding. The goal is to just sort of get those colors swirled together. I'm making a little ball, and then I'll roll it out again. And you never know how it'll be. You can twist and fold as many times as you want to, just until it looks kind of swirly. Just make sure you stop before it turns into a completely new color. It's not exactly what we're shooting for here. Sometimes it'll make a pretty color though, and sometimes it won't, so that's why you want to be careful. Okay, so I've got it pretty swirly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to form this into sort of a little log. I'm squishing it up a little bit rather than fold it another time. And now I'm going to chop off. I'm going to chop off a little bit for the tail first because I have a tendency to forget the tail. So, well, I could use my little cutting tool. That would work. If you're feeling like you don't want to use your cutting tool anymore, you can also use your card to cut things up. So I'm going to cut just a tiny bit for the tail. Then I'm going to cut off, well, just enough for the head. And that's about a little cube like that. Now the rest of this I'm going to divide into 4. So I want to be a little more even with this. And then kind of, you could measure it if you wanted to get it really exact, but usually I cut it right in half first. Lay those next to each other. Oh, looks like I got pretty close. And then cut those right in half. So I've kind of got 4 little cubes like that. Those are going to be the legs. We'll start with the legs. So, got our body. We're going to make the legs. I'm going to give it just a little pinch and a little pinch there. Okay? We're kind of going to not pinch this end. We want to leave that sort of big at first. And then at the very end, just give it one little squish. Okay? Now, to take that little bit of the triangle there and just turn it just a little bit up. See how that works out? Of course, every foot can be a little bit different shape. You can be creative. So, just a little pinch there, little pinch there, one little pinch on the foot, and a little bend up. And making them as close to the same as each other as you can. And, oops, I'm doing it backwards this way, see? Sometimes my hands just decide to change jobs. And then I'm going to just turn that a little there. And then the same thing. Give it a little pinch to make it sort of into a triangle. Little flattening on the foot. And pinch that little, like the little attachment part where it's going to attach to the shell. And I'll do that right now. So I'm going to take those little parts that are sticking up and just go right around the turtle and put those on. 2 on each side. Of course, you can always kind of look at them. If you have like slightly different sizes, you might want to do like the smaller ones in the front and the bigger ones in the back. However you want. There we go. He's got his legs. Now he really wants his head. So I'm going to take this part, and it's a very similar shape. I'm sort of doing that flattening on this end. This time I'm really going to keep this end sort of round, not flattening at all like that. So I'm just making sort of a little neck. See how I pinched out that neck? And that neck part is going to come out from the bottom, just like that. And you could pinch a little more of a nose if you want to. Every guy just kind of ends up with a different kind of nose. Now this little bit for the tail, just going to form that into a little triangle. Teeny little, everybody, you can come up with a way to make a tail. It could be a little round ball if you wanted to. Just stick that right on there. Alright, now I just can't wait. He needs his eyes. And so I'm going to just put eyes on the side. Right there. And now toenail time. This little round, little tiny Millefiori cane, you never know what you're going to get. It's kind of random. Usually it's a swirl, but it might be a flower. It might be even a tiny, tiny picture. I'm going to roll that small, just a little bit. You can roll it a little bit if you want to. It just depends. You can leave it the size it is too. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to make at least 3 toenails per foot. So there's 1 foot, there's 2 feet, so that's going to be 12 little slices if I want to do 3 per foot. They're kind of sticking together nicely. They might not do that. You never know what they're going to do. So that makes it easy for me to put them on really quick. I could put them on individually, one at a time, but they're sticking together, so hey, I'm just going to put them right on there. Lay them on. You can be as creative as you want with these toenails and spread them out, or put them right together. There he is. Isn't he cute? So he's all done except for baking. You'll want to put him in the oven for 30 minutes at 275. Make sure that your oven is the right temperature. That's really important. And then let him cool off and it'll be all done. If you want to find more fun kits, check out claysquared.com. Have fun!